This is a cheat, and it's on Redditor updates, but gaycation. My 42 female husband, 42 male, has informed me he intends to go on a gaycation with his brother-in-law, 35 male, in Ibiza. How do I handle this? Oh no, brother-in-law, I'm stuck in our gaycation mobile. What am I gonna do? My 42 female husband, 42 male, has informed me he intends to go on a gaycation with his brother-in-law, 35 male, in Ibiza. How do I handle this? Trigger warnings: infidelity, internalized homophobia, accusations of homophobia. Does he mean brocation? I have no fucking idea. I really wish I didn't have to make this post, but here it goes. So me and my husband have been happily married for about 16 years, give or take. We both have stable careers, good family life, and are fairly fortunate despite the cost of living racking in the UK right now. We have 2 boys, 15 and 10, and up until this Sunday thought we had it pretty good. We argue sometimes, of course, but have never gotten too bad. We have a pretty decent sex life with some exploration, but I won't get into that. Just say that you've pegged him before. You can say pegging. It's okay. It's not a bad word, and it's not weird. It's all right. Long and short is, on Sunday, just after I dropped our boys off at their friends, my husband asked me if we had the house alone, and more importantly, do I have a minute? I said yes, and he set me down, then got out the way in which I am completely and utterly 100% baffled and flabbergasted. I said yes, and he set me down, then got out this printed poster for some sort of orgy and started explaining to me the concept of a quote-unquote gaycation. How it's where straight men go to somewhere with quote-unquote sun, sand, and booze and quote-unquote become gay for the duration of the trip, but that's fine because it doesn't actually count, because what happens on gaycation stays on the gaycation. Suddenly all of the adult filmography I hear about straight dudes doing gay stuff is making a lot more sense. I was just completely silent and mortified, even more so when he said he was looking into booking a trip to Ibiza next year with his brother-in-law, his sister's husband, to experience it for himself. When he finally let me speak, I just said, I need him to be clear to me, is he gay? Because if yes, that's okay, but we need to figure out what happens going forward. I didn't let myself get angry or upset, I was just stunned. He swore up and down to me he's not gay and he's 100% attracted to women, of course still loves me and our boys. So I said, well, do you think you're bi? And he got very defensive, saying I need to drop the accusations that this is the beauty of the gaycation. It allows straight men to experience gayness without actually being gay, and how it's like going to an aquarium. I'm not gay. I just want 50 men in my hole within 24 hours. And again, he was adamant he doesn't find men's bodies or genitalia exciting at all, but he needs to experience this apparently. I said, well, I'm not really comfortable because even if he was bi, this would be explicitly cheating on me. He got angry and reiterated he's not, because that's the beauty of the gaycation. I ignored him for the rest of the day, but we spoke at tea, where I again asked him, why does he want to do this so bad if he's not gay? He said how he's interested in how gay men's lives differ to straight men's, and that unfortunately, once the He said how he's interested in how gay men's lives differ to straight men's, and that unfortunately, once the gaycation begins, it's simply impossible for a man to resist, and he must, quote, surrender himself, mind, body, and soul, end quote, to the gaycation, or, quote, be destroyed, end quote. I really can't put into words how surreal it was because he was speaking so matter-of-factly, and he again insists this is a thing that straight men do all the time, and how he's actually doing it a bit late. This man is the reason that Grindr crashes at the RNC. Dude, this motherfucker's in Narnia, dude. I just said to him that if he has any love for me, then he can't go ahead with this. And if he does, the marriage will be dead. We didn't speak anymore after that. Since then, he's mentioned no more of it, but somehow, and this is what scares me a lot too, that decision genuinely seems to be tearing him up. He didn't go into work on Monday and only went in half a day yesterday because he told them he just felt too ill, and he just looks distraught every time I see him. I really don't think he's wholly gay though. I can absolutely believe he's bi, but I'd rather we talked about that in a healthy way rather than this incredibly weird denialism around going on a sex holiday to Ibiza. Has anyone known straight guys to do this and come back and just go back to being straight? Like, surely that can't be a thing that happens. I'm so out of my depth here, and I just don't know how to even initiate the conversation. How bad is the rampant homophobia and attacks on our communities? Like, I know this to be true, but like, the level of denial here is so fucking deep. Honestly, this went from being funny to being so incredibly sad. For the record, I also haven't mentioned it to his sister yet. I don't know how I'd even break it to her. Thanks for any help. I just don't even want to think so. Being able to get this out there has helped even just a little bit. Edit number 1. Wow, this blow up has been so incredibly sobering, and I think I've now confirmed what I already knew to be the case. The marriage is dead, one way or the other. In a way, I was in denial myself about that. I have contacted my sister-in-law, and she's initially screaming at me, calling me a liar, and even insinuated I was trying to steal her husband. She rang me back shortly after, apologized, and admitted she was in deep, deep shock. Yeah. Which means it was not brought up at all, even a little bit, in their relationship, and that he was just gonna go without telling her. I've asked my parents to look after the boys, and we're going to meet tomorrow to discuss this deeper. I have also texted my husband and told him he will need to make alternative accommodation arrangements, but he will not be sleeping here tonight, and a bag will be waiting for him. Not sure if the mods want to lock the post or not, but I think I've got my answers. Thank you for all the kind words, especially Champion Flight, who really gave me a good dose of reality I needed. P.S. I see a lot of people asking about the aquarium, and at risk of doxing myself, there's a pretty famous aquarium in the UK called The Deep. At the very end, you walk through a tunnel that goes underneath the main fish tank, so it's quite immersive, I suppose. My husband explained the aquarium thing in that it's a bit like that. You go there, you observe the fishes, you even get a bit up close, but you never actually enter the water, get emotionally invested, or become a fish. Gay. Or become a fish, parenthetical, gay. It's hookup weekend for closeted gay and bisexual men. So it doesn't really count. It was a very bizarre analogy, and I pointed out it still makes no sense. He just got more in a huff, and how I just, quote unquote, don't get it. And frankly, I still don't. I mean, I get it completely. He is 100% completely and utterly lost himself in denial. And he wants to be able to go fuck a bunch of dudes and maintain his life. Relevant comments. Commenter number 1, your husband isn't proposing a gaycation, he's proposing cheating on you with men while using magical thinking to pretend it doesn't count. The fact that he's planning this with his sister's husband makes it even more disturbing. His bizarre explanation about surrendering mind, body, and soul isn't straight man curiosity. It's someone desperately trying to justify exploring his sexuality while keeping his heterosexual marriage. His depression about not being able to go isn't about missing a vacation. It's about being forced to confront his sexuality without this convenient "what happens in Ibiza stays in Ibiza" excuse. So when I last posted, I'd contacted my husband to tell him he wouldn't be staying at home tonight and a bag would be waiting for him. As you can imagine, we argued quite badly. I won't go into the details, but no, I'm 100% on board with the fact that at minimum, he's bi. Might even be gay altogether. We've had arguments in the past, but I've genuinely never seen him have such a childish tantrum before. Screaming about how I just don't understand the gaycation, absolutely despise that phrase now, and insinuating I'm actually homophobic because I refuse to allow him to participate in this cultural exchange with the gay community. A lot of you said to ask him if it'd be acceptable if the roles were in reverse, and I did say, would it be acceptable if I went and slept with other guys during that week? Like fucking clockwork, he was very angry and offended, saying it's completely different because a gaycation means nothing and what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation, etc., so it doesn't actually count. Whereas I'd be, quote unquote, straight up cheating. The double standard, the mental gymnastics, appalling, baffling, mind-numbingly nausea-inducing. Brother-in-law is gay and wants to fuck the husband. This isn't real and they want to have an affair. But if he created the post when the story was a cover, it's fake all the way down. It could be. I turned it around on him. No, but you see what happens in Manchester stays in Manchester. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't count. It's like bird watching. And I think it got through to him. He went all quiet and then started crying, admitting the thought of me sleeping with another man is destroying his heart. But, quote, relationships need sacrifices, end quote. So agreed, while in tears, that when he goes on gaycation, I'll get 1 week in Manchester to do whatever I want. He doesn't want me to, but that's fair in a twisted way, he supposed. I told him to get out of my house. Thankfully, he left without a fight. I know it's incredibly petty, but I also drained the joint bank account, legal in the UK, so he couldn't try to use it against me. About an hour later, I got rang up by his mom, my mother-in-law, who just screamed and screamed at me about being a cheating whore, how I was horrible, what about the kids, etc. When I finally got my composure back, I just said, ask your son about the gaycation. Obviously, at first she got angry, but I said, no, just ask him about the gaycation. He'll explain, but she called me a fucking joke and hung up. Later on, getting into the evening, got another phone call from her in a flood of tears. She was very apologetic, and I told her she doesn't need to be the one to apologize. She was so upset she put father-in-law on the phone, who, while he sounded calm, I could just sort of tell he was on the warpath. Again, very apologetic, and said he overheard the phrase. Asked my husband, and husband initially said, no, it's nothing, before explaining how it's a, quote-unquote, a modern thing men do, etc., and gave them the same spiel about how what happens on the gaycation, men cannot resist the gaycation, how a man must surrender to the gaycation, etc. Father-in-law just said they told him to leave or they'd call the police. Don't care where he goes, but he isn't staying here. Husband tried to call me while I was on the phone, but I just ignored it. And father-in-law just said he was so sorry for me and that they have my corner in this. So that's one thing. Told them to be there for their daughter because it sounds like brother-in-law is involved. Husband didn't tell them that. And father-in-law just said he had to go because he was so angry. Got a text from my husband after the phone call, which was all weirdly rambly, saying about how I'd abused the gaycation to destroy his marriage and destroy his life. And again insinuated I, and his parents, was homophobic for doing such a thing. Now hang on. Your wife is not homophobic for saying, you are asking to cheat on me with an undetermined number of men over a weekend in Spain. Your parents being so angry they throw you out of the house, that might be homophobic. But also, if it's not gay, if it doesn't count, it's not homophobic. Told him we'll talk when he grows up and blocked his number. I took a day off of work to myself, have the locks changed this morning, so that's 500 pounds gone, but whatever. At least I know he won't be coming back. I'm going to look into how to proceed with a divorce and then we'll move from there. I need this story to be edited like a fucking edge of your seat thriller Broadway show with these different acts.
My husband has informed me he intends to go on a gaycation with his brother-in-law in Ibiza.
Just say that you've pegged him before. The way in which I am completely and utterly 100% baffled and flabbergasted.
Gaycation.
I'm not gay. I just want 50 men in my hole within 24 hours. That's the beauty of the gaycation. Once the gaycation begins, it's simply impossible for a man to resist or, quote, be destroyed. And how it's like going to an aquarium or become a fish, parenthetical, gay. What happens on gaycation stays on the gaycation. Of course, there's also the brother-in-law. So I haven't yet met with sister-in-law. She was in such a state and has taken this far, far worse than I have for reasons that'll be clear soon. We're going to maybe try tomorrow, but we did talk over the phone and I eavesdropped on the conversation with her husband where she put her phone on speaker and I went on mute. Her husband got home earlier. She made him come home, told him there was an emergency, and just said to him, "Can you please explain what a gaycation is?" She told me afterwards she was praying he'd look confused or just be like, "What?" or anything like that. Instead, he sat her down and explained that a gaycation is a new thing where straight men go to gay hotspots and participate in gay sex acts, but it doesn't count because there's no investment. And because what happens on the gaycation stays on the gaycation. He said it's like writing down angry thoughts and putting them in a drawer. You, quote unquote, never have to see them again. That's called a hookup. And it's also cheating. The whole time, sister-in-law is in tears as he just calmly bats off the same points my husband did about how it doesn't count, and he even did the whole "it's impossible to resist, you must surrender or be destroyed" shit. Are they in a cult? I think they're both listening to Gay Conversion Podcast. I think it's a gay sex cult that's like, it's okay, straight boys. You can come to gaycation. It doesn't count while you're here, but you must surrender to the gays and have your hole filled or you will be destroyed. I seriously think they must be speaking to a dominatrix or something. Are there even male? Oh, honey. I seriously think they must be speaking to a dominatrix or something. Parenthetical. Are there even male doms? Because surely neither of them are that into this to actually make that up on their own. I really don't want to go into what was discussed for her sake, but it did become very apparent to me that brother-in-law... I didn't want to say this because I didn't know if this was considered offensive or not. I think this term is in certain contexts. It became very apparent to me that the brother-in-law is into sissy hypno porn and at times conflated that with the concept of a gaycation. If you want to have sissy hypno porn sex, have that, but at least be honest with your partner. I'm not kink shaming. Absolutely. Absolutely, I'm not kink shaming. I'm kink going, what the fuck? There was this utterly surreal moment where sister-in-law is just trying to wrap her head around this while also in floods of tears. And he explains so genuinely, so matter-of-factly that for most men, the gaycation is either a one-time, or annual thing, but some men go on the gaycation for years and others simply never return because they use hypnosis and mind control to be totally feminized into a state of permanent pseudo-gayness. Oh my God. Oh my God. She asked him if the sissy stuff is what he wanted, and he said, not on a long-term basis, and was adamant that this is something all straight men do, but she wouldn't get it because she's a woman. No, it's not. No, straight people don't think like this. Right, Fennec? You could have a very mature adult conversation about your respective sexualities, how they have grown and flourished, and how you would like to explore the possibility of exploring this new sexual outlet for you. But no, you had to come up with the weirdest possible outcome and explain this weird, fake gaycation orgy weekend. It's what? Then there were more insinuations of homophobia. Well, that marriage is dead too, I suppose. The whole ordeal ended when she said to him he has a choice to make, and he said no, he doesn't need to make this choice because the beauty... Oh my fucking God! No, I don't need to make a choice because the beauty of the gaycation is that it allows him to keep his marriage because it doesn't count. No, you don't get it. We have to keep being married because this doesn't count, right? That's the beauty of the gaycation. You don't divorce me. That's how this works. She said that's not the choice. The choice is whether he's leaving the house that night or she is. Only good thing he did was leave. Me and sister-in-law spoke about it after that, and I'm just still utterly stunned. I understand she's gone to her parents for support. What exactly did we do to have our lives destroyed in such an abrupt, bizarre, embarrassing way? Per some advice, I'm going to look at devices and bank statements to see if I can find any definitive proof of cheating. After that, I suppose figure out how to tell the boys why their father won't be coming home. Edit. Spoke to other sister-in-law. My husband's family is older sister, him, younger sister, original sister-in-law, and gave her a skimmed down version of it. She asked her husband, and thankfully he was deeply confused, but then mentioned about 2 years ago at a birthday party, he was approached by my husband and brother-in-law about signing up to some online boot camp around BDSM cross-dressing. Oh my God. They've been doing this for years. He assumed they were taking the piss out of him, so told them to fuck off and never really thought of it again. The fact that this has been going on for that long is making me want to throw up. Top comments. Comment number 1. Your husband and brother-in-law are deep in a shared delusion that's destroyed 2 families. Their identical talking points about surrender and destruction prove this was coordinated. They're not just planning to cheat, they're already involved in some online community that's warped their thinking. The fact that they both instantly launched into the same script about gaycation shows this isn't spontaneous. You made the right call draining the account and changing the locks. Their attempts to flip this into accusations of homophobia show how desperately they're trying to avoid responsibility. The identical language, the bizarre aquarium and bird watching analogies, the talk of surrender or be destroyed, they're in some online echo chamber that's completely divorced from reality. When your husband agreed to let you have a Manchester week while crying, he revealed the whole lie. He knows exactly what it is, cheating. He just wants permission to do it while denying you the same. The talk about hypnosis and permanent feminization reveals just how far this goes. Get a lawyer, protect your assets, and document everything. This will get worse before it gets better. Focus on protecting yourself and your children because they're too far gone in their shared fantasy to see the destruction that they're causing. What a pathetic hill for 2 men to die on. They destroyed their marriages, traumatized their families, and alienated their parents, all while insisting none of it counts because they made up special rules about it. They want to cheat without consequences, and they found an online community that validates this fantasy. It sounds like how conservatives think being gay or trans works, and the more I think about that fact, the more disturbed I become. Yeah, they think that this is how being gay or trans works because that's how they fetishize being gay or trans. Because they fetishize it. I found for a coach on feminization in Ibiza, Spain, that has online boot camps. Oh my God. Like, good for you. Good, like, that's fine. Like, you do you, like, the whole it's more so the fact that we verified this story. Yeah, it went from maybe it's fake to, oh shit, this has bones. Yes. I seriously think they must be speaking to a dominatrix or something. Parenthetical, are there even male doms? Hello, my name is Beard Princess. I am the monarch of the Beard Kingdom. I am what is considered a soft dom. It's great to meet you. If you'd like, we can take a weekend up to Utah, and I can introduce you to what male domination looks like. But it's okay. It's in Utah. It doesn't count. What happens on domcation stays at domcation, but you must surrender mind, body, and soul, or be destroyed.